Done?
Yes.
Okay, so you haven't studied the chapters like nutrition in plants, nutrition in animals. By the way, acid, base, and salt was going on, I think, when you joined.
When?
When you joined this batch, so acid, base, and salts were going on, I think.
Yeah.
That was going on, no?
Yes.
Okay, so the first two chapters like nutrition in plants, nutrition in animals, and the chapter heat, you haven't studied. So just tell me, by the way, when is your exam date? Have you been updated with the exam date when your exam is going to start?
I think October or
In October.
I think I don't know.
Okay, okay. So in today's class, what we are going to do, we are going to revise some of the chapter or some of the topic. Just tell me, do let me know which chapter you would like to discuss today. Uh, there's some chapter in which you had some difficulty. Out of the chapter, just let me write down the names of chapter like nutrition in plants, nutrition in animals, physical and chemical changes. Then the chapter heat, acid, bases and salts. Then you had respiration in organisms. Respiration in organisms. Then you have reproduction in plants and motion and time. Then light. Out of these chapters, if this you think you would like to have a class for any one particular chapter, please let me know.
Respiration in organisms.
Respiration in organisms. Okay, okay, okay. So we're going to start that. Just wait for 1 minute and then we are going to continue. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. इसमें अगर स्टूडेंट्स अभी ज्वाइन नहीं कर रहे हैं तो मैं रज़ान के अकॉर्डिंगली चैप्टर्स इसके छूटे हुए वो मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ, न्यू चैप्टर स्टार्ट नहीं कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है? हाँ हाँ इसके नहीं आ रहे और एग्जाम के अकॉर्डिंग मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ बच्चों को, ठीक है? बाकी प्रेजेंट है नहीं तो प्रेजेंट होता है, ठीक है? Yeah, Razan, give me a minute. I will be sharing my screen in a minute, okay? Meanwhile, there are some questions you can answer. Do tell me, like, why does our body require oxygen? What do you think? What exactly is the requirement of oxygen in our body? Why do we need this?
We need oxygen to breathe.
Okay, we are breathing in oxygen. Breathing is the exercise of taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. Okay, that is the process. That is a process. But my question is why? Why do we need this? There must be some use, not like we drink water because it helps in digestion. It is important, right? That's why
Yes.
we drink water. We eat food because it gives us energy. But the thing is that the food that we're eating, it has to be broken down. Only then we'll be getting energy out of it. First of all, it has to be broken down, right now. So
Yes.
breakdown of food will take place with the help of oxygen only. Breakdown of food takes place with the help of oxygen only. That's why
Sir,
oxygen is important. Yes.
are you sharing the screen?
No, I haven't shared the screen yet. I'm going to share it in a minute. Okay. Just 1 minute. Let me just Okay, let's start the class. Hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
So in the chapter respiration in organism, there are lots of things we are going to study. First of all, let us start with the very basic question like why do we respire? Why do we have to do the process of respiration? So what we know that all the living organisms that we see, whether they are visible to our naked eyes or whether we have to take help of microscopes to see them, all of them are made up of cells, right?
Yes.
Cells are the smallest structural unit of life right now. Whether it be a giant elephant, or whether it be a giant elephant, whether it be the largest mammal, that is elephant, or that is blue whale, or whether it be we humans, all of them are, in fact, whether it be an ant, or in fact, whether it be a bacteria, all of them are made up of cells. All of them are made up of cells. Getting it? Cell is the smallest structural unit of life. So all the living organisms are made up of this. Okay. Now, the cell, it has got different function to perform. The cell has got several functions to perform, meaning that the food that we eat, it ultimately goes to the cells where it is broken down, from where it will be transported to other cells. Within the cells, it will be transported to from one place to another. So when we look at, let us say that you have this person here. Let us take out any cell from the body. Let us say we take out a muscle cell from the body. Okay. Say that you have taken a muscle cell from the body of this child. Say that this is how a muscle cell will look like. Getting it? This is a muscle cell. Now, cell has got several functions to perform. It has got several functions to perform. Like take the case of this muscle cell here. So for example, what are the functions it will do? Like it will take in the food. It will take in the food. Like whatever food we are eating, let's say you had some food in the morning. So that food after being digested goes to your cell. So cell will be using it. Cell will get energy from that food. Right now, cell will get energy by eating that food and will be able to carry out its function. That is the case here. Okay. Then furthermore, some other function will be performed by it, like it will be transporting the food from one part to another inside it. When we look at the structure of a cell now, like when we look at the structure of a cell, it has a nucleus inside it. It has so many tiny structures inside it. Okay. There are so many tiny structures inside a cell. So say that this is a structure where the food goes. So from this structure, the food will go to other parts. The food will be transported within the cell also. Getting what I'm trying to say? So
Yes.
food will be transported within the cell also. That is one thing. Furthermore, what we get to see that cell will also do the process of excretion now. Just like our body releases the solid waste, like our body also releases the solid waste in the form of feces and the liquid waste in the form of urine. So we animals also carry out excretion. So the cells also has to do excretion. Cells have to do the process of transportation. So for all these functions, they require some energy now, right? Cell must be in requirement of some energy. That is one thing. So they will be able to carry out these functions only if they get the energy to do these functions. Getting my point?
Yes.
They won't be able to carry out these functions unless they don't get the energy. So that's why, since all living organisms are made up of cells and cells requires energy to carry out their functions, so the energy that is present in our food, it ultimately is important for the cell. So all living organisms, they need food which gives them the required energy to carry out different functions. Hope you are getting it. So the energy that is present in the food, it gets released when the organism would be doing respiration or will be breathing. So from our discussion, what we can conclude that respiration is necessary for survival. Respiration is necessary for the survival of any living organism. Hope you can get it.
Yes.
Okay, Razan. So when we are inhaling the oxygen, what happens? See, we have taken some food, we have eaten some food. And when we inhale the oxygen now, when we inhale the oxygen, what happens? The glucose and other things present in the food, it gets broken down with the help of oxygen. It gets broken down with the help of oxygen. Okay. So what basically happens? The food, once the food has been completely digested, once the food has been completely digested in our body, then it goes to the different cells. Getting my point?
Yes.
Now in the cells, what happened inside the cell, the glucose and other things present in the food, it reacts with oxygen. It reacts with oxygen, or in other terms, we can say that it is broken down with the help of oxygen. And as a result of that, energy is given out. And some other things like carbon dioxide gas and water is also given off. Water is also given off. But the main thing of our concern is here that energy is being released. So this whole process of breakdown of the food in presence of oxygen, we call that as respiration. That is why it is important for us to take in oxygen, which will be utilized to break down the food and obtain energy out of it. Got this? So talking about respiration, it's a process that occurs inside the cells of living organisms, and it helps the cells get the energy they need to function properly. During respiration, what will be happening? Say that this is a cell. The cell will take in oxygen and it takes in the food, and with the action of oxygen, the food is broken down to obtain energy from it. Right now? So during respiration, cells take in oxygen and break down the complex substances present in the food to release energy out of this. As a result, what happens? The food is broken down to give out carbon dioxide and water, plus energy is also released in this process. Plus energy is also released in this process. So that is what happens in the case of respiration. Hope you are getting it. Okay. So that is all about respiration. In fact, we are going to discuss that topic later on. But as of now, just take a look at the action of breathing, like what breathing is. Okay. So far, let me sum up what we have discussed so far. What we learned that all the living things are made up of some microscopic unit called as cells. Whether it be an elephant, an ant, even a bacteria, all of them are made up of cells. Now, cells have got different functions to perform. Like in our body, cells of kidney, their function is different. Cells of our heart, their function is to pump the blood. The cells of the kidney is to filter the blood. The cells of the heart is to pump the blood. The cells of the brain, its function is to think and sense different things that happens around us. Getting it? The sense of the cells of the bones, their function is to provide structure to the body. The cells of the muscles, their function is to allow us to do movement. Getting my point?
Yes.
So every cell has got some function to perform, and in order to be able to carry out those functions, they require energy, which they will be only getting when they get the food, and food has to be broken down to obtain energy out of it. That is one thing. So as we will be breathing in air, we take in that air that contains oxygen, and we breathe out the air which contains carbon dioxide. So why the action of breathing? We take in oxygen, and that oxygen will basically go to the cells where that oxygen will be utilized to break down the food to obtain energy from it. So that is why breathing is important. Read the given paragraph. Yes, Razan, you there in the class?
Yes.
Read the given paragraph. Read it loudly.
Breathing is the process by which air rich in oxygen is taken inside inhalation. The body and air rich in carbon dioxide is expelled from the body, exhalation, with the help of breathing organ. One breath means one inhalation plus one exhalation. Breathing rate. The number of times a person breathes in a minute is termed the breathing rate. On average, the breathing rate in an adult human being is 15 to 18 times in a minute, and it increases up to 25 times in a minute when we do heavy exercise.
Okay. So what we have learned so far, that breathing is basically a process by which we take in oxygen-rich air inside our body, and that action of taking in oxygen-rich air, that is called as inhalation. And the action of releasing carbon dioxide-rich air from our body, that is called as exhalation. And these action will be done with the help of breathing organs, that is the lungs and the nostrils and this windpipe. Getting it, no?
Yes.
So these are the organs that will be helping us in carrying out inhalation and exhalation. That is one thing. So when you further, we will be learning about the mechanism of the breathing. Okay, now, but first of all, let us learn about some basic things. One breath, it means one inhalation plus one exhalation. When you take a deep breath and when you release the air, that is called as one breath. Got this now?
Yes.
That is one thing. Furthermore, talking about the breathing rate, so the number of times a person would be breathing in a minute, that is called as the breathing rate. Okay, now that is called as breathing rate. So, for example, on average, like right now, if I'm not doing anything, if I'm calm and relaxed, so I will be breathing for about 15 to 18 times in 1 minute. Got this? What I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm, let us say, I am breathing for 15 times, so it means that I am inhaling the air for 15 times and I'm exhaling the air for 15 times. Getting it? What I'm trying to say? Inhaling the air 15 times while exhaling also at the same time, the same number of time, that is 15. Because one breath means one inhalation plus one exhalation. So 15 breath will mean 15 inhalation, 15 exhalation. You understood this thing or getting confused? Please let me know. Okay. Okay, now let me tell you some other facts. Like whenever we'll be doing some heavy workout, our breathing rate increases. You might have observed this. Let us say you are running or you're playing some sports activity. So our breathing rate increases. Okay. Also, you would have seen in the case of children that children's breathing rate is higher. Have you observed that?
Yes.
You know, so children's breathing
Yes.
rate are, they are faster, and usually breathing rate of women is also faster as compared to men. That is one thing. Also, we like a healthy human can hold their breath for about 30 to 60 seconds. A healthy person can hold their breath for about 30 to 60 seconds. Okay, now, so a healthy person can hold breath for how much time? 30 to
30 to 60 seconds.
60 seconds. But then we get to see that there are some persons, like there are some divers, you understand now, divers who will be diving to depths of several feet in the water body. So they
Yes.
can hold their breath for significantly several minutes, like 5 to 6 minutes. There are some divers who can hold their breath for that much of time. That is one thing. Okay. Also, like in 1 minute, we are breathing for about 15 to 18 times. But during the whole day, we would be breathing for about 22,000 times a day. Okay, now. So these are some important figures which I thought you should understand. Like the average number of times a person would be breathing in a day will be about 20 to 22,000 times one day per day. Getting it?
Yes.
All right. Now look at the breathing rate of some other animals other than human, like a diamond back snake. So diamondback snake, it has the breathing rate of 4 breath per minute. Okay, now. So it is very slow, right? Then look at some other. Out of these, which animal has highest breathing rate?
Mouse.
That is mouse, about 163. Okay, now that is one thing. But there are some organisms that have even higher breathing rate. Okay, now even there are some organisms that have higher breathing rate than this one also. Okay, like generally it is said that fishes, their breathing rate is higher. Fishes, their breathing rate are very high. Getting it now? They are very high. Also, it is an observation: the smaller the animal, the slower is their breathing rate. Like small animals, their breathing rate is usually very high. Okay, na? Or in fact, the aquatic animals like the fishes, they have a faster breathing rate. Why is it so that fishes, their breathing rate is high? What do you think?
Can you repeat, sir?
My question was, why is it that aquatic organism like fishes, their breathing rate is very high? Can you think of this? Like, think about it. Actually, the thing is now, there is less dissolved oxygen in water. Less dissolved oxygen in water. Got my point, no?
Yes.
Meaning that in comparison to land, the oxygen in water is less, but on the land, like in the air, more oxygen is found. But in water, less oxygen is found. That's why their breathing rate is faster. Getting it? So they
Yes.
have to breathe really fast in order to get more amount of oxygen. Understood this now?
Yes.
Read this given paragraph. Read the complete
Aquatic
paragraph.
Aquatic organisms like fishes obtain oxygen from water present in the dissolved state through their gills. Since the amount of dissolved oxygen is fairly low compared to the amount of oxygen in the air, the rate of breathing in aquatic organisms is much faster than in terrestrial organisms.
Okay, so hope you have understood this so far.
Yes.
Good then. Now let us understand the mechanism of the breathing. Like how does breathing usually occur? Okay. What will be happening in the case of breathing? Okay. Just let me clean this thing. 1 minute. Rizan, you haven't been going to school.
Huh?
Have you been going to school? Like you're going to school or not?
Uh, After vacation, I have went to school.
Okay,
I'll go to
after
school only on October 10th.
okay, after October 10th. Okay, okay. So try to stay updated with what's going on in the school. Okay. Like you can ask your friends like what's going on. Otherwise, you'd be missing on important things. Or also try to get in touch with one of your friend and ask them if there's any notification about the syllabus. If there's any information about the syllabus. Okay.
Yeah, she'll send if there's any notification.
Okay. Okay. The moment you get it, do let me know. Okay. Let us understand about the mechanism of breathing in the case of humans. Okay. So humans, we have a complex system of breathing in air. As compared to some simpler organism like fishes, they simply have a gill. Okay, now so with the help of gills, they are able to take in oxygen, and it's a very simple mechanism, not very complex mechanism. But when we look at the mechanism of the breathing in the case of humans, so we have organs like lungs, nostril, then you have the windpipe, that is also called trachea. Okay, then you have diaphragm, rib cage. So all these parts of the body will be working together to enable us to breathe in air or breathe out the air. Basically help us breathe. So what we get to see, let us understand first of all the different things here. Our nostrils here, like this tube-like structure, pipe-like structure that goes into our nose, it connects all the way to the windpipe. Like our nostrils here, you get to see that it goes via this nasal passage. See where I'm pointing? So
Yes.
this is the nasal passage and it connects all the way to the windpipe. This is the windpipe over here where I'm pointing. This is the windpipe. Further, it is connected to the lungs. This is the lungs. So the process of breathing takes place in our lungs, and lungs are connected to our nostrils. Like this is our lungs, and this is connected to our nostrils through this nasal passage and via this windpipe. It is connected. So there's a kind of direct connection between our nostrils and the lungs via this windpipe and the nasal passage. Getting it now? So the
Yes.
air that we are breathing in, that directly goes to our lungs via the nasal passage and then via the windpipe. Hope that should be clear.
Yes.
That is one thing. Then look at one more thing, that at the base of our lungs, there's a structure called as diaphragm. It is a muscular tissue like this. This is a tissue like this over here that we are calling as diaphragm. Diaphragm. That is one thing. So our lungs, furthermore, they are enclosed in the rib cage. Right now, our lungs are enclosed inside this rib cage, which will be protecting the lungs and heart also. So inside the rib cage, there's a cavity, and that cavity is called as chest cavity. What do we call that as? Chest cavity. Cavity, like you might have heard of this term, like there's a cavity in the tooth, huh? Whenever
Yes.
there's a bacterial infection in the tooth, or if the surface of the tooth has been eaten away due to some bacterial infections, so hole develops, the tooth becomes hollow. So this hollow space inside this chest, that is called as chest cavity, although it is not hollow because lungs and a heart is present here. But otherwise, try to understand this term chest cavity. Getting it now?
Yes.
Many times this chest cavity, many times you might find it, I will be using the term thoracic cavity also. Okay. So thoracic cavity and chest cavity both are being referred to the same. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Also, this diaphragm, it will be acting as the floor of the chest cavity. It will be acting as the floor of the chest cavity. Okay. Also, one more thing to be understood, like whenever we breathe in or breathe out, whenever we do inhalation and exhalation, do we not observe that our lungs, our rib cage would be moving? Just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and you will observe that your ribs would be moving. Huh? You can
Yes.
observe this right now.
Yes.
Okay, so this much I needed to tell you so fast in order to understand the complete mechanism. If any confusion from all this, please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's one more important concept I want you to understand, that air always moves from a region of high pressure to a region of low pressure. Got this what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Let me explain this further. Just take this example. Let us say you have taken two empty bottles, make a hole at their base and connect them like this. Make a hole and connect both of them with the help of a pipe like this. Okay, Razan.
Okay.
Now fill one of them up to this level and fill another one to this much of height only. Now you tell me, the flow of water will be taking place from A to B or from B to A. We can take this as water or any gas also.
A to B.
A to B now.
Yes.
Why? Because there is more volume of water, or we can say that there are more particles of water here. There is more particle of water, and here less water particle. Got this thing?
Yes.
So when there are more particles of water in glass A or in bottle A, so here we get to see that the pressure of these water particles are high. While here, due to less water particle, the pressure is less. It's low. So there's a difference of pressure. So the water is moving from a region of high pressure to low pressure. This is applicable for gas also. This is applicable for air also. Getting my point? So oxygen will move from a region of high pressure to low pressure. So outside our body, there is 21% of oxygen in the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
But in our body, there is less percentage of oxygen. Let us say 4 to 5%. Just I'm giving you an example. The figure might not be accurate, but just try to understand. So there is a difference. Where the pressure of oxygen will be more? Yes. Or in general, just answer this to me, that outside our body, air is present. Inside our body, is air present? Air molecules, air particles are less.
Yes.
Outside, more air molecules are there, more air particles are there.
Yes.
So where is the pressure high? Outside our body or inside our body?
Inside.
What did I say? The particles are more outside the body. So the pressure is more outside the body now.
Yes.
Like what we learned in this case. Explain this one to me.
In the two cups, one of the water, a cup is full, so the other is less. So it has more molecules, and the other one has less molecules. So
Okay.
the A will A's molecule will go to the B one and will be the same.
Okay. Also here, what we get to see that the pressure here is more, the pressure here is less. Getting it?
Yes.
That is one thing. Okay. One more thing I want you to understand. If this much is clear, let us understand one more important thing here. Okay. Let us say that there are two balloons. One that has been inflated, one that is of this size, and one that is of this size. Or just take one another example to understand this. We can take the example of this one here. Okay, fine. Let us take two boxes here of different size. Box A and you have box B. Box B. Now say that both, it is quite visible that they have different size here. Their size is different here.
Yes.
All right. Now say that I am going to fill some air in this. Okay, let us say I fill air in this one and I fill air in this one also. And I'm filling equal quantity of air in these two boxes. So these are, let us say, air molecules here. And these are also the air molecules in the second one. So do tell me, in which one the pressure will be more? The one where the area is less or one where the area is more? Where the pressure will be more?
Box A.
Box A. No, it will be in box B actually. You know why? What do we know about the air molecules? That they will be always in movement, that they will be moving. Like they will be moving like this and they will be hitting the wall of the box like this. Getting my point what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Just let me zoom it. So they are not in a state of rest, but they are always in motion. So they are going to hit the wall of the box. So they will create pressure, but they will create more pressure here. More pressure is created here. Now look at the box A. Since they are not compactly packed here, the size is more. So they are also going to hit, but less pressure is generated here. The pressure generated here is less. Getting my point or not? Please let me know. If not, I will be happy to
Yes.
explain again.
Yes, I understood this.
Understood this basic thing now? So when the
Yes.
size increases, the pressure decreases. When the size decreases, pressure
Increases.
increases. So these are the fundamental things that you need to know to understand the whole mechanism of this. Okay, now?
Yes.
All right, let us understand this now. Also, I did told you the chest cavity is also called as, another name of chest cavity was
Um, Low.
thoracic cavity. Okay.
Thorax.
I will give you time to write down the important things. Let us understand the mechanism first. Now, while inhalation, by the way, inhalation is sometimes also called as inspiration. Okay, na? Inspiration also. Not that one. Okay, na? Not that one of the motivation. Okay, that's a different thing. Okay. So inhalation or inspiration here, this will occur when the diaphragm would be contracting here. Inhalation occurs when the diaphragm contracts here. When the diaphragm would be moving down here and the ribs will move outward. So here what happens whenever we take in air, like you just take a deep breath. Right now in the class, take a deep breath. What do you observe? The size of the rib cage increases or decreases?
Increases.
It increases. So while inhalation,
Yes.
the size of the rib cage increases as the muscles present on the rib cage, it will be pulling it outward. Okay, na? So the muscles,
Okay.
basically rib cage would be moving outward. It will be moving up and outward, and diaphragm moves down. So diaphragm is moving down, and like this structure is going down. Like from here, it goes down to here, like this, like this. So thereby the size will increase. Okay. Now, if the size increases, what we had learned moments ago, if the size is more, thereby the pressure is less. Tell me this thing. Have you understood this thing or not?
Yes. No.
What is not
Yes.
getting it? Sure. See what is happening. The size of the rib cage is moving up and the outward. So rib cage is kind of expanding here. Rib cage is expanding, and this diaphragm is moving down. Like, let me just highlight this here. Like this is the diaphragm. Now, diaphragm basically forms the floor of the chest cavity. Okay, now this is like a floor of the chest cavity, and it will be separating the lungs and the heart from the stomach and the intestines. Like right here, stomach is present, intestines are present. So diaphragm actually separates them also, and it forms the floor. Anyways, getting back to the topic. So when it will be moving down, it will go down here. Like let's say it goes down here. So this whole cavity, this whole chest cavity, its size will be increasing now. Let us look at this where I'm going to highlight. Also, the chest cavity also increases. Let me draw this. Let us see that the ribcage expands to this much in size. So that the size has increased. So now this is the new size of the chest cavity. Let us understand. Okay, now earlier it was like only this much. Now it has increased to this much. So the size increases, and if the size is more, the pressure is less, as we have learned. Yes or no?
Yes.
Just keep this thing in mind that more size means less pressure. That is one thing. So the pressure inside the lungs decreases. Pressure inside this decreases. That is one thing. So because of this pressure difference, what happens that air rushes in here. Because of this difference, air is drawn into the lungs. Why? Because outside the body, air pressure is more. More air is outside the body, so the pressure is high. High pressure outside the body, while inside the pressure is less because there is less pressure, less air in the body. So due to the difference in the pressure, air will be rushing into the chest cavity, mainly into the lungs, basically. Read this paragraph here, this one.
During inhalation, the ribs move up and outwards, and the diaphragm moves down. This increases the space in the chest cavity and makes it larger. The chest cavity becomes larger and air rushes into the lungs.
Okay. Have you understood this or not? Please let me know.
Yes.
What did you understood from all this thing? And explain this.
Like when you're breathing, your ribs
Ribs moves
your
up.
ribs,
Uh-huh.
goes down, and when you're exhalation, it goes up. And when it's um,
In inhalation, what is happening? Like just take a deep breath, you will observe that the size of the ribcage increases as the ribcage moves upward and outwards. Okay, na? It moves in the outward direction like this. It moves in the outward direction like this. Thereby, its size is increasing
yes,
and diaphragm moves downward. Like this was the position of the diaphragm earlier. Now the diaphragm's position is this. This is the new position of diaphragm, let's say. So the size increases here.
yes,
Okay, if the size increases, what did I told you?
it has low pressure.
Low pressure, the pressure becomes low here. So in comparison to the human body, the pressure outside is more or high?
Yes,
No, and it's a question, no? Inside the pressure is low and outside the body pressure is
high.
high. And the air blows from from an area of high pressure to low pressure or low pressure to high. Air blows from high pressure to low pressure, high pressure to low pressure, or does the air blow from low pressure to high pressure?
High pressure to low pressure.
High pressure to low pressure, na? So
Yes,
will air not move inside the lungs now? Due to this pressure difference, the air will go into the lungs,
yes,
right? Okay. That's why you know that this process will be greatly helped because of the pressure difference here, because of the difference. That's why when you are breathing in air, you don't have to apply this much of force. Do you have to apply so much of energy while you are breathing in air? Just observe this. When you are exhaling, then you have to apply some energy. Just do one thing, exhale some air, force out the air from the nostril. Did you observe that you have to apply some energy in that, Razan?
yes,
But so far, like we have been having this class for so long, but all this while, did you ever felt like you are breathing in air, like you have to apply some energy while taking in the air while inhalation? Usually, no. What this now?
yes.
So talking about exhalation, sometimes exhalation is also called as expiration. Okay, na expiration also. So in the case of exhalation, what happens? It will occur when the diaphragm would be moving upward and the rib cage will be moving downward and inward. Now do one thing, breathe out. Force out the air from your nostrils. Force out some air from the nostril. What do you observe? Do you see the rib cage moving downward or the or downward and inward, or does it move outward?
Upward.
Upward, like when you will be exhaling the air, so the ribs moves downward or the upward?
Upward.
No, no, I am saying you to exhale the air from your nostril. Exhale. Okay, do one thing. Inhale some air. Inhale the air. At that time, what do we observe?
It goes up.
It goes up now. Now
Yes,
exhale some air. Exhale some
it
air
goes
from
up.
the nostril. It goes down now.
Yes,
Good. So in exhalation, what is happening here? The ribs moves downward and inwards. It constricts in size. It becomes smaller in size. Getting my point here. So
yes,
now let me highlight this much here. So this is now the size of the chest cavity. Getting it?
Yes.
Now compare it with the previous one. Compare it with this. Let me mark this.
Smaller.
It's a smaller now. Okay.
Yes.
So if the area is smaller, what did I told about the pressure?
The pressure will be higher.
Higher now. So
Yes.
inside our chest cavity, the pressure is high. High pressure is there. While outside the body, pressure is low. That is one thing. Okay. So due to the downward and inward movement of the rib and the upward movement of the diaphragm, the size increases, and because of that, the pressure becomes higher. And because of this pressure difference, and we have to apply some energy also in this, and because of that, air is pushed out of the lungs. Okay, now. So the pressure decreases here because of the decrease in the size of the chest cavity or the thoracic cavity, pressure increases. As a result of this, our lungs will be contracting and air is forced out here. Understood this now?
Understood.
So that is what basically happens here. Now give the heading of the chapter respiration in living organism and write down few important things in it. Done?
What's it?
You have given the heading of the chapter now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now write down this this what is respiration, and this in that write down this paragraph where I'm going to highlight. So write down this much, that respiration is a metabolic process that happens inside the cells of living organism. It helps the cells get the energy that they need to function properly. And during respiration, cells take in oxygen and break down complex substance in the body to release energy. Write this much only. By the way, let me just clarify the meaning of this term also, like metabolic process. Okay, now? Like metabolic process basically refers to some chemical reactions now, where like wherever some chemical reactions takes place inside the body, so that will be called as a metabolic process. Huh? Like for example, breaking down of the food, it's a chemical process. Like what happens, say you have glucose reacts with the oxygen to give out new substances, namely carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water is given out. This is a chemical reaction that is taking place inside our body. There are some other metabolic processes also, other than this also. Okay, no? So that's why this is being called as a metabolic process, because a chemical reaction takes place here. Like a chemical reaction is the reaction where two or more than two products will be reacting, will be combining to give new products. Okay. Okay, write down all this quickly.